Seconds out, delighted to be joined by the featherweight champion of the world, Josh Warrington. Yeah, a little celebration there. Probably been too long since you've been able to do that with lockdown. How's it been for you, the whole situation?
Well, as you can see, out of control. Out of control. You know what? It's been. I always try to make a positive out of any situation, and it's been nice to spend time with my missus and my kids. Obviously, when a boxing chunks of time, months at a time, are just taken away. And it's not like a typical 9 to 5, 5 days a week, because you still train on a weekend. You never switch off. Even if you go to the supermarket and things, you're always like engaged. You're a certain persona wherever you go. So it's been nice to just be dad at home. I only said to Mrs. the other day, bloody hell, I'm here doing a puppet show, reading books or whatever. Well, I'm meant to be a world champion. The world champions don't do stuff like that. But she turned around and she went, "No, you're at home, your daddy." And it's like, yeah, just maybe remember when I'm at home. No longer just Josh Warrington in the box, just daddy and an husband as well. So it's been nice doing a normal day, waking up, having breakfast with the kids, having breakfast with Tash, and being able to put them in bed in bed on night time instead of running off to the gym. So, it's been priceless moments, mate. And although I am looking forward to getting back to some kind of normality, that routine, it's been nice having this time at home.
I hope there's some video out there of you doing the puppet show. I think that'd go viral.
Mate, I'm like Mr. Tumble. I'm a right idiot. Son of
You
them
got the
allowed to.
waistcoat and everything.
Yeah, little butt and all that. Missing the pink nose.
Spotty bag, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what about the training side of it? I mean, have you got facilities at home? Have you been able to do much?
Well, we have our gym just around the corner. We got it all finished just after the last fight against the coach, and it's not the biggest of buildings, but we've got an 18-foot ring in there. We've got like 4 or 5 bags speedball, and I've got weights and things in there. So I've been able to maintain, and can still run as normal. So I think for around 12 weeks of lockdown, I've trained 10 weeks. Only like I dropped myself off for about 2 weeks because I've been more or less training since Christmas, and I didn't want to, overdo it. Certainly on the fitness side. So if anything, I kind of just dropped onto just shadowing and doing little bits of drills. And my dad had phoned me up. He said, "Right, I want you to practice this. I want you to practice that." But the training's there, and I've been maintaining for a long time. With my weights, fantastic, and even my runs, my times are like more or less at my best of when I'm in camp and on the weight. So, I'm in a good place, and I just can't wait to get back to being able to do the proper stuff like the sparring and the more technical work on the pads and things, and having a date to aim towards.
Have you been able to see much of your dad, obviously, with the restrictions and stuff? Because you're used to seeing each other every day.
Yeah, well, initially, I'd put a stamp on it where I wasn't going to let him come to the gym. I was saying, "No, you're not. It's not happening, mate. You need to keep yourself safe and keep yourself secure." And then I think, a fair few weeks into it, he popped in and we kind of did it at a bit of a distance. He kind of like just stood at the door, he had a mask on and gloves on and all that, which was quite funny because every now and again he'd pop outside and pull his mask down and have a fag,
Oh,
and then put
God,
his
yeah,
mask back
of
up.
course.
But yeah, then as lockdown got eased, the last 4 weeks or so, he's been able to just like I say, come in and stand watching me on the bags, obviously keeping his distance, but stand watching me train on the bags and just watch it from a different eye and say, right, you're doing that wrong, or try this, try that, and just really slow technical stuff. But to be honest with you, it's like stuff that we used to do as old. We used to do stuff like that when I first came through, and it really got me excited to be back in there working, and now I want to try it out in the sparring and obviously in fights.
Now, during lockdown, Eddie Hearn famously spoke to you on a live feed and said that the unification fight with the WBA champion Can Xu had been confirmed. What more can you tell us about that? Because we haven't heard much since. I'm assuming because we still don't know when crowds are going to be allowed back into events.
Yeah, I'm just like you, Danny. I don't know much at this moment in time. What I did know that before it all kicked off, these things don't happen overnight. And they take a very long time and process to happen. You're dealing with managers and promoters and TV networks across the pond. Everybody's got to be happy with cuts and where it's going to be and blah blah blah. I'll leave all that stuff to my manager and Eddie. And they finally got the ball over the line, and it was going to be a unification fight. WBA Super, my IBF, and the Ring magazine as well. And I think we'll just get into the final T's and C's with dates. And originally, I think we're going to be looking at Headingley Stadium in Leeds. And then obviously, lockdown just got real heavy, and all of a sudden, we were in a bit of an unknown situation. So until we get to the stage where officials can travel over from here, there, and everywhere, and I think we need some kind of normality. Then I don't know, but I'm getting to the stage now where if it has to take place behind closed doors, then I'd be willing to do that. It's not something that the fans want to hear, and ideally, I don't want it to be like that. But at the same time, you can't be out the ring for forever, and you need to be, getting back to some kind of regular competition. And it's not the only fight that I'm going to have. There's plenty of fights out there for me. So I just want to get the ball rolling, get another world title won, and be crowned unified champ.
One fight that wasn't feasible behind closed doors was between yourself and the WBO champion Shakur Stevenson. Bob Arum said a few weeks ago that it couldn't happen over here because there's no live crowds allowed, and you would obviously be restricted from travelling to the US, as everyone is at the moment. How disappointed were you? Obviously, Can Xu's a great consolation at least, but how disappointed were you at the time when you realised the Shakur fight wouldn't happen?
Well, at the time we've got to rewind back to February when time were just normal, and I've just signed with Ed, and Ed's coming to the table. He said, right, this is what we're going to aim for. There's Shakur on the table, there's Can Xu on the table, there's Gary Russell, and we're going to see what we can do. I'm like, fair enough. You go away, do your work, see what comes back, see who wants to fight. And at the time, Shakur was aiming to be out in around March time. So they were saying, we want to fight end of July. And us back in February were like, well, we're not waiting until July. We're looking to go out end of April, early May. Maybe latest, mid-May, late May. And they were, well, you either wait until July or we're not going to fight, we're going to move up. And that's where he was at in February. And our response was, why don't you turn around and leave your fighting match? You don't need that fighting match. This is a unification fight. You're going to get the biggest purse that he's ever had. He's going to get to fight in front of a massive audience instead of like just a phone box. And then they still don't happy about that. And then obviously, I think the weekend when he was meant to fight, that show all got pulled right at the last minute.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the talks with Can Xu had progressed. Obviously now he's come back and he's back on social media chelping, saying this, that, and other. But listen, if he wants it, he can have it. I'm very much open to that fight. Like I say, in place there's Can Xu. I think that's going to be a fan favourite fight because he throws like a million punches a fight. I've got quite an high work rate, so I think that'd be an exciting fight. But the fights are there to be made at feather or at super feather. So we just have to wait and see what the next 12 months brings.
What did you make of his move up to super feather a couple of weeks ago, and how did you think he got on?
I wasn't surprised. Dan. They said that one of the things that they had said was the fight needs to happen sooner rather than later. And then you ask the questions why. Is he struggling? Then they came out and said that he's going to potentially move up. Well, that makes me think if we'd have got the fight on and I beat him, will he turn around and say, well, I should have been a super feather because I was struggling to make that weight?
Yeah.
Going by that fight, I mean, you take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah, he looked good beating him up, but then you look at the highlights and you look at some of the stuff that his opponent were doing. I mean, bloody hell, they were just stood in front of him, pitter-patter body shots, and he's asking for, counters. He's asking for uppercuts. He's asking for all sorts. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, if that were me in there, the fight would have finished a lot sooner than it did. But it made him look good, made him become a little bit more popular, and it gave him his platform to shout and all his the fans that he does have think he's absolutely superb. But I didn't see anything what made me worry or anything like that.
If everything goes your way against Kanzu and Shakur does decide to stay up at 130 pounds, what are the huge fights out there for you that you'd really like? Is Gary Russell Jr. top of that list?
Oh mate, it's kind of like in a winter wonderland, just everything's there, and I pinch myself at times, Dan. I'm there, world champion, 3 defences under my belt. Some good names on my CV already.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is be part of these big nights. I want to be part of the big fights. Obviously, I've got my mandatory at some point as well. I'll have to deal with that at some point. But if I could have it on my own way, I'd have it champion after champion. I'd go into Kanju. I'd go into Gary Russell after that. I'd go into Shakur after that. I've got an hit list. There's the Valdez, Santa Cruz, Joseph Diaz at some point, because we were meant to fight. He's gone up to 130 and won a world title there. Listen, I think I've got the beating of him tomorrow. So, these are all the names, but they're exciting fights as well. Dan, the names that I'm talking about. They're all decent profiles, and I could imagine that we'd make great fights. So, like I said, I probably put in my own head, maybe 4 fights time. I'll see where I am, whether I want to carry on boxing. But now I'm thinking, bloody hell, there's 7 or 8 fights what could make, and it's like I could be boxing till I'm 40, man.
It does seem to have changed your outlook a little bit, because although previously you've always been enthusiastic, it was kind of the last 2 to 3 fights of my career, they're all going to be huge fights, whereas now all the people around you are so good and marquee names. Like you said, you can see yourself going on a lot longer.
Well, it's not just that either. I think being away from it has made me realise how much I love the sport. And like I said, as a kid, I would have pinched myself to be in the position that I'm at. Being able to fight on big stages. We're talking about going around the world, box office shows, unification fights, man. It blows my head at times when I sit down and think about it, because I'm thinking like, I'm picking dog shit up in my back garden and think I'm going to be fighting for, for unification belts, and this is it's the creme de la creme. It's the very, very top, very, very pinnacle. But it's exciting. It's exciting times, and I'm a boxing fan as well as a boxer. And in the lockdown time, and I've been reading a lot of books, reading a lot more on Mike Tyson and Jack Dempsey. Real old school fighters, and it just revamps the love and the fire for the sport. So yeah, I'm looking at the other names in the other, like in the division and a division above, and I'm thinking some absolute belting fights to have. And you only have to sit down and watch some greats on the TV when they come up on, if they're highlighted on Sky or BT or whatever, and you think, wow, that would have been a brilliant fight. I want to be part of them fights where that Warrington, he would in some good fights. He would in that Selby fight, that Frampton fight, that Valdez fight, that Santa Cruz fight. The more you can add to your resume, they'll think the more you leave a dent on the sport. But not only for that, for myself personally, I want to be able to look at my walls. You see, I've got Selby print there, I've got a Frampton print. I want to have more of them along the walls to talk about the memories that we've made and the occasions we've been in.
And you mentioned Mike Tyson there. You've been reading up on him during the lockdown. It was announced, I think, yesterday that Jamie Foxx is going to be playing him in the biopic that's coming out pretty soon. What do you make of that casting, and is it something you're looking forward to watching?
Yeah, definitely. Jamie Foxx is a great actor, and like I say, I'm a little bit obsessed at the minute with not just Mike, but the team who we had around him. Not so much in Don King, but more so Cus D'Amato. One book I've just been reading recently was Iron Ambition, and the stuff that I've learned from Customato, and some fantastic stuff. I'm reading it at like middle at night, and I'm wanting to get out of bed and start shadowboxing because you look at the things that he did as he was coming through, and I wonder what parts of his life they're going to put in. I should imagine they'll probably focus more on the troubles that he's had being locked up, becoming a Muslim and things like that. But it will be interesting to see if they do put some of his original things in with Cuz, and how we put him under his wing and made him the fighter that he was, building up to that world title.
Before I let you go, one thing we've been asking everyone about, it seems to be the big news of the moment, is that Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury appears to have moved a significant step closer, albeit not yet agreed. What do you make of that fight? Who do you fancy coming out on top should it happen in 2021?
Well, I'd say for the last few years, my opinion's been like that. I've chopped and changed it a fair few times, but if you're going to go on form, then you can't argue with Fury. I mean, coming off that the Wilder win, and then when you look at AJ's fight against Ruiz, he got the win against Ruiz, but he looked like he were just trying to survive. He looked like a bit rabbit in headlights, where Fury looked so confident. He dictated that second fight, and I feel that Fury's at a stage where mentally he's as strongest as ever been. He's not going in there diamonds. He's got nothing to lose anytime he goes in there, and he seems to just enjoy himself. Where I think there's a lot of pressure on AJ's shoulders now. It seems in that rematch, that fight, he had to win that. Everything was on that, and he may be dealing with a lot of emotion. So, listen, it's heavyweight boxing. One punch can change a fight, and AJ is known for finishing the guys if he gets them wobbled. But I think it's difficult to land one of them bombs if the man's not stood there in front of you. So at this moment in time, Dan, I'd probably have to lean with Fury.
Good stuff. I'm going to let you get back to, puppet shows and dog shit. It seems to be the ones that stood out.
Fantastic riders.
Yeah, but I hope to see you back doing what you do best. Not that you're not good at puppet shows or picking up dog shit, but what you do best is obviously hitting people and not getting hit, ideally. So hopefully see you back in the gym and in the ring soon.
Yeah, top man, Dan. Appreciate that.
No
Good
worries,
speaking to
mate.
you.
You take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.